Hello everyone and welcome to the channel. I'm Emmanuel, I'm an airline pilot, and in today's video let's have a look at the brand new version 1.01 of the iniBuilds A300-600. This time we're standing in Muscat in the Emirates livery and we're going to fly it over to the brand new iniBuilds Dubai scenery. Now before we are going to start, let's have a very quick look into the changelog to see what's new with the present update. So this is it, released about 18 hours ago. I do apologize for not covering it much earlier. I did, after all, have to do a real-life flight around that time it came out. But here we are now. So that's version 1.0.1, where we got all this lovely stuff in here fixed. Now, if you want to read it, just pause the video for a second and read through it. Otherwise, we are just going to take the airplane out for flight and see how it is going to behave. At that point, it is worth to point out that for me it is actually the very first flight flying the release version of the plane. Previously I only had the beta version, which I used to record things like my first look and the tutorials, and that did make quite a difference here, as it meant for me that things weren't 100% reliable, as is expected from the beta version, but now we're sitting here in the release version with actually the first hotfix already out. So join me in the cockpit and we are going to take a seat in the captain's seat to prepare our lovely A300 for the flight. By the way, it might just be me, but did the colors of the flight deck change to a slightly nicer tone, and did a couple of details get added over here? Might obviously just be a placebo effect from seeing the final version for the first time here as I'm recording this, but also look at things like the dirt on the windscreen there, just looking really good. Okay then, so let's go ahead and start our preliminary cockpit preparation. We're going to switch the batteries on, all three of them, make sure the hydraulic panel is checked, the electric pumps are off, the wipers are off. Landing gear lever down, the flap handle is in the 0 position, which agrees with the actual setting. Then we've got the reverse levers down, fuel levers are cut off, weather radar off. Okay, external power is available and online. So, APU fire tests, let's do that real quick. That's the loop A fail. I should get loop B any moment, here it is, and that lights up the APU fire switch, and then we also run the squib test, which is working beautifully. Okay then. Thank you very much, and it is rather warm here, 24 degrees outside, recording this on the 30th of December, so rather late in the year, but still 24 degrees, absolutely lovely. So let's go ahead and get the APU running so that we get some proper air conditioning there. Okay, APU started coming up, and we'll also fire up the inner tank pump number 2 on the left side in order to feed the APU. Then let's go ahead and turn our IRSs in enough, like so. So the ISDU is set, then we can move further down to the oxygen supply, and that one actually is not clickable here, it seems. Still not clickable, okay. So the switch says off, but looking at the gauges, we do have sufficient pressure. Well, that's interesting. Certainly first time I'm seeing this with the iniBuilds, but probably a new issue introduced with the latest version. Okay then, annunciator light tests. Making sure all the light bulbs are working, which is looking good to me. Okay, thank you, and the radios are just going to stay set the way they are for now. 1228, and we'll take 1215 on the other side, and then finally make sure that we're listening to both. So we are listening to both over here, and the FO is as well. Okay, very good. So that's that part of the stuff. Now, I just want to turn my lights off over here, because I do feel it's more than bright enough outside. So let's go for the other side as well. Nicely hidden beneath the yoke, like that. Man, those textures are really lovely. Just while I'm looking down here on the pedestal, even without zooming in, this just looks really good. They made a very good job getting those textures right. Very nice rework of the A310 textures there as well. Okay then, so APU is running. Let's flick on the APU bleed. Like that. Okay then, general power up of the airplane is done. Let's quickly go ahead and align that IRS. Enough accuracy, all that stuff is copied. So, ACARS, request sim brief. Here we go. Flapcon uplink is there, and that's looking good. Okay, good. So, I'm happy with the coordinates. Let's hit align IRS, and here we go. Right then, that stuff done. Let's move over to the tablet real quick. Actually got a couple of settings to do. So, real alignment time, yes. Rudder control, the tiller, yes. Here we go. Unix, gonna go to metric for sure. Like that. And default acceleration height is gonna be 1000. Perfect. Very good. Then, my flights, import from SimBrief, please. Here we go. Very good. Then let's quickly head over to the weight and balance page, and we are also going to update this one from SimBrief. And in terms of fuel, let's make that 10,000, just so that we got a nice number. Here we go. Okay, 10,000, apply load to aircraft, and you can refuel in real time. 5 minutes to go. Interesting to see that the plane always starts at 0 kilos, so it's when you hit the refuel button, it just resets the tanks to empty, like completely empty. You can see on the gauges up here as well, and then starts to fuel from 0. Would be nice if it did something a little bit more logical, like take the last fuel quantity or something the likes of that. Okay, anyway, so that's the most important stuff done down there. So let's quickly do the next most important stuff, which is checking all the maintenance stuff. So, first of all, let's go ahead and refill the oil quantities, or rather set the oil quantity bug up here. So that's done. Then we can have a look at the hydraulic quantities. They're looking good for all 3 of them. And then let's quickly move back to the APU oil quantity, which is looking good down here as well. Alright, I would say that looks good enough so that we can go out and do a very quick walk around to check that the tires and the brakes are looking good as well. So, follow me. By the way, that's our nice jetway over here. That's not a bug of the plane. That's the jetway of the scenery. Lovely looking cabin, by the way, but that's not where we're headed today. So, we are gonna go right here. Okay, so just the most important stuff for us to check today. Static ports looking good. By the way, really nice quality of the textures as well. If we just go very close up front here, that's a really, really good quality. Really like that. Okay then, down to the nose wheel, and the tires are looking good, in a good shape, and no scratches or anything the likes. The rest of the plane is looking good from the outside as well. I'm gonna do the walk around a little shorter here because you guys have basically seen the walk around of the A300 already in the other videos. So in case you care, then do take a close look at that. Alright, the hatches are closed. One of the most important steps down there. CF6 engine. I just flew that one last night. Beautiful engine. What's that up there? Is that... Oh, that's the fuel tank cap, is it? Interesting. Would be really nice if they had a 3D model of that refueler as well, but suppose you can't have it all. Okay, that white cross is visible. Then we can go over to the main landing gear, and that's going to be an interesting one to check now. But looks good to me as well. Where's the brake wear indicator pins? Here they are. Okay, and we've got plenty of brakes left. I love it that we gotta check that stuff with this plane. Okay, tires looking good, and the front brakes. Quick look at the pins down here as well. Again, plenty of pins left, so we are looking good in terms of the brake wear pins. Now let's move further to the back. Alpha 6 Echo Kilo Oscar, that's a plane for the day. Alright, looking good up here. Then we can go over to the other side. And everything's looking good over here as well, so let's move on to the main landing gear over here again. And again, quick check of the tires, making sure there's no damages or anything the likes. Quick look down at the brake wear indicator pins, and they are looking good as well. Right, no fluids leaking, no damage to the tires. Another look at the brake wear indicator pins, looking good. So with that, we've got all 8 brakes checked. Then let's move on along the wing, making sure there's no signs of bird strikes or anything the likes, which there is not. Quick look inside that little hole over here to find that white cross that we can see over there. That one we need to see. And then we can move on to the front. Quick look into the back of the engine, looking good. Then we can move on to the front of the engine. Again, looking good. No damages or anything the likes visible. Alright, I would say we've got an airworthy airplane. So follow me back inside. And here we are. Okay, the IRS is aligned already, that's very good. Makes the pre-flight procedure a little bit easier. And let's have a very quick look into the condition page. Here we go. 23 degrees inside, looking very nice. Okay, so that's perfect to welcome our guests on board. So these guys can basically start the boarding. Okay then. In the meantime, we can continue our panel scan. And that's all looking good. Refueling seems to be done as well. How much do we have? 10 tons. Yep. So refueling is done. And since fueling is done, we can turn on the pumps. If you turn the pumps on while the fueling is in progress, you risk getting fuel transfer faults. And we rather avoid those. Again, the supply button in here doesn't seem to work. Cockpit doors showing open, obviously. Then engine 2 fire tests. So loop A fault, loop A and B fault. This should obviously generate a master warning. Interesting that we get the cautions but not the master warning. Obviously that's a bug. But hopefully one they're going to fix with a future version. Okay, let's do the same for engine number 1 as well. We can also do the script test here. And we can also do the script test on the other hand side. Okay, looking good. Then we can move further down. Emergency lights armed. And everything in here looking beautiful. Alright, so we're done on the top side here. Let's start with the lower side. So the terrain display, to my knowledge at the moment, is not implemented yet. So for that reason we can select it for the beauty of it. But we might as well just turn it off, because we're not going to get any actual indications, so we're just going to take it from there. Okay then, let's have a quick look into the My Flights app, and what we can see in here is QNH 1017. Okay, so altimeter, we'll take 1017, and we'll also set the amber buck to that. Timer is set. Standby altimeter 1017 as well. Let's erect the gyro. Okay, looking good. Then we can do the brake test. So park and brake is off. Brakes to alternate. Brake pedal check. We can get pressure, very good. And release. Okay, back to on. Park and brake set. Okay, we have lost a little bit of acute pressure, but that's fine. Somebody actually told me underneath one of my previous videos that we can simply recharge the brake accumulator with that little button down here. So let's press that. It's probably gonna pressure up an hydraulic system now. Let's see that. Hydraulic page. Or how's that gonna work? Let's press and hold the button. Interesting, the hydraulic system doesn't pressurize, but the brake accumulator does. Well, I'm not sure. Maybe the A300 has a system there that I'm not aware of. Could be. Certainly the more modern ones, the A330 doesn't have that, but that mustn't mean anything. Okay, landing gear warning test. Looking good, and we're flying from the left side, so system 1 is selected. Landing altitude is basically 0 for Dubai. Okay then. Moving further down. Radios are set, we don't need an ADF. Quick look through the ecam pages. Engines looking good, oil quantity showing 20. Hydraulic quantity is looking good. Then ELEC AC page, showing all green, external power is powering the airplane. DC page, all looking good as well. Okay, bleed page. Well, the packs are hard at work over here it seems, but we've got a full airplane today, so that's probably quite justified. Okay then, air conditioning looking good, as we said. Pressurization, obviously alpha valves are fully open and we don't get any indications here. Okay, fuel is looking good. APU, hard at work. Interesting that we got the 110 voltage in amber there. I would have expected them to be green because they are available even though they are not in use. Let me just do a quick experiment here. External power off. Okay, interesting, they still show amber. Okay, so be it. Let me just go back to the external for now, as that does save a little bit of fuel. So that's fine for me. Okay, then flight controls. Showing basically what we're expecting since the hydraulics are powered. Okay, doors obviously looking good, and the wheel page. Okay, brake temperature is basically 0 at the moment, that's most important here. Okay, looking good, and then we can clear all that stuff out. Cool. So we'll go 5 degrees nose up on the weather radar, and we don't have any trim set down here. Perfect. So let's move on to the FMS. Cost index is going to be 30. The flight number is Emirates 863. Like that. Okay, the rest is uplinked. Muscat to Dubai, alternate Dubai World Airport. Cruise level 200 because it's a rather short flight, and all that good stuff here looking good. Alright, so depart, and we're going to depart on runways. Now that becomes a little bit more interesting. Let's go ahead and grab our Navigraph charts. Muscat Airport. Okay, so 8 left is going to be our departure runway today. So runway 8 left. And then for our routing, let's have a quick look at the SID charts we got. And we got one down here today, which is over here. And that should be the Dapok 2 Sierra if I'm not totally mistaken. The routing, unfortunately, starts at Mike Charlie Tango at Muscat VOR. So we have a look at that. Starts right at the airport, then Tango 508 toward Dapok. But we got a SID leading directly to Dapok. So that is what we're going to take for today's flight. Dapok 2 Sierra departure, which is the one we have over here. So basically this. Okay, Dapok to Sierra, insert, and then we can clean that stuff up as well. So we no longer need this, we no longer need this, and we no longer need this. Okay then, Dubai, stars. It's going to be an ILS runway 30 left, and we've got the Imped 3 Charlie arrival, ULDA transition, insert that. Let's have a look in the plan mode. And that looks pretty familiar. I tend to say we can absolutely fly this. Okay then, secondary flight plan. We go from OOMS back towards OOMS. Gonna insert that over here. Okay, so sit is gonna be runway 8 left again, Darpok to Sierra, insert. But now we'll do OOMS 08 left slash. What's the runway track down here? 084. So slash 084 slash 25 miles. PBD 04 looking good. We'll enter the holding over there. That's on 084. And insert. Can we do a new destination from here? Don't think we can, but we don't need to. So for an immediate return, ILS 8 left is now in. Okay, very good. So that is basically our secondary all prepared. So let's go back to the init page and we'll start with the init B. So block fuel is 10 tons. No, I said 10 tons, not 1. Then let's have a look at the weight and balance. And down here we got zero fuel weight 118.1. 118.1 makes 127.7 gross weight, and that seems good to me. Now a couple of fuel values for us to enter. So, taxi fuel is going to be 0.5. Alternate fuel 1.8. And the final reserve fuel 2.2 is looking good. And that makes literally 0 extra. Optimum level 348, so we'll be far below that. That's looking good. And there's 0 fuel CG 28.8. Okay, looking good. Then let's do some takeoff performance calculation. Let's go performance, synchronize. That's all synced already. Air conditioning on is looking good. Forced torque on no. Okay, calculate. 55, 63, 63. That's pretty heavy, isn't it? 155, 155, and 163. Looking good like that. And now let's set that altitude up. Don't think that's an initial climb published, but let's have a quick look. Nope, no initial climb altitude, so we'll just take something like, I don't know, 5,000 seems to be looking good to me. Okay, and pre-select, we're going to go for the clean speed, which is 211. Looks good. Okay, runway heading 084. Like that is okay. Perfect. So, with that, we are pretty much done. Last thing for us to do here is to set the acceleration altitude. So it's 49 field elevation, so let's take 1049 for the acceleration. Thrust reduction is fine at 1049 as well. Okay, cool. Engine out, we'll leave where it is, and that should be it for our setup. Okay, cool. So let's do one last thing, and that is cross-checking that all the stuff we entered into the FMS is correct on the SID. So let's see. It's a left turn on 069 degrees to Mike Sierra 801. And we've got 068 Mike Sierra 801, which is an overfly waypoint. That does matches with the chart, as you can see over here. And a left turn Mike Sierra 803, max 240 above 10,000. So we've got 803, max 240 above 10,000. And from there we continue towards Dapok. And in here we continue towards Dapok. Okay, perfect. So that is our setup completed. In that case, we can go for the departure briefing. Are you ready? A little unenthusiastic, that reply, but I do suppose we'll simply go for it. Okay, so pilot monitoring shall lead the briefing. Okay, takeoff runway 08 left on the Dapok to Sierra departure. Initial climb to 5,000 feet, and the MSA is 9,100. Extra fuel and time is exactly 0. Okay, no hotspots for the planned taxi routing, and stop margin for rejected takeoff shall be plenty today. Engine out sits straight at 25 miles, and we'll climb to, 10,000 actually, which is rather high, but we can obviously just, if we go straight, say that we are going out to the open ocean. And as long as we are VFR, or rather in VMC, I'd say 3,000 feet is totally fine. Immediate return is possible. Muscat got a long runway, so nothing to worry about, and we're actually under our maximum landing weight anyway. Okay, special operation or non-standard operation, I don't really see anything. Do you see any threats for the departure? Yeah, the one threat that I see is that we are not so familiar with the airplane type. Okay, I do agree on that, especially with the latest update being released. It's the first time we're flying it, so you guys are literally getting your very first impression here. And in order to mitigate against that, we're simply going to stick to the SOP, and we are going to do everything with the automation in, so not too much of a hand flying here, so that we can get used to the airplane. Any questions? No questions, very good. Okay, before start checklist, down to the line. Cockpit prep completed, signs on auto. Fuel quantity is 9,900 kilograms, and that's balanced. Okay, navigation checked and set. Landing elevation 0 set. Altimeters 1017 cross checked. QNH 1017. Brake anti-skids norm on. Before start checklist complete, down to the line. Okay, that's looking good so far. Let's go ahead and request that pushback, please. Okay, I'll quickly say hello to our guests. Ladies and gentlemen, very good afternoon from flight deck. This is your captain speaking. My name is Emmanuel. In the name of Emirates, I would like to welcome you all on board our flight 863 leading you to Dubai. Flight time today about 40 minutes. We expect a smooth ride in 20,000 feet. We'd like to say thank you very much for being our guests today. Sit back, relax, enjoy the flight with us. If there's anything we can do for you to make it more comfortable, please don't hesitate to ask any of our cabin crew. Again, thank you for your attention and welcome on board. Alright, the guests are served, then let's talk to the ground crew. Ground cockpit, go ahead. Okay, please confirm all doors and hatches are closed, ground equipment removed and bypass pin is installed. Yes sir, we can confirm all ground checks complete, the pin is installed and we're ready to push. Roger that, stand by. Okay, so the jetways are gone. Let's have a quick look outside on what's going on. GSX is currently connecting, that's very good. So we should be ready to go in a couple of moments. Okay, so we're about to get off block with our latest update of the A300. So let's have a very quick second look into the changelog to see what kind of stuff we're actually going to watch out for as we make our way towards Dubai. And yeah, turnaround, that doesn't really apply to us. Direct 2 bug causing crash bug fixed. Okay, well, so we are going to try Direct 2 today. Speed brake light does not illuminate when the speed brakes are extended. I do believe I actually saw that earlier during today's flight. Let's have another quick look on that. So speed brake extend light is just over here. Let me get the speed brakes out a bit. And indeed, it works. Speed brake light is working. Okay, then let's do those again. Perfect. Okay, so there's quite some more stuff out in there. I do tend to say that we are simply going to give it a try and see what's gonna happen out of it, shall we? Okay, so another quick look down here into the EFB on the performance page. We should have flex temperature of 63 degrees. So let's do auto, and then we'll go flex takeoff 63. Like that. Alright, looking good. Cool. Okay, the APU is running. The external power can go. Okay, ground from cockpit. Go ahead. So, you guys can remove all the equipment, please. And we are good to go. Cabin crew, arms, lights, and cross check. Okay. Nose to the right hand side, please. So, ground cockpit. Go ahead. So, clear push and the parking brake is set. Roger, stand by. Before start checklist below the line. Windows and doors. Closed. Beacon on. Parking brake set. Before start checklist complete. So, ground. We are clear push. Facing north. Park brake set. Roger, release parking brake release. Parking brake release, clear push, facing north. And let me know when we can start our engines. Roger that. Okay, and off we go. Now the scenery we are using today is from Double T Muscat Airport. And on the arrival we're using iniBuilds Dubai. So that's the two airports we're using today. I gotta say, Muscat is one that I didn't really see in a very long time, but it does actually look rather beautiful for what it is. At least for sceneries in the Middle East, which are really not too well covered, usually, with Dubai being like the one big exception and Doha also being quite okay. But apart from that, I'm actually quite happy about this Muscat scenery. Double T did a good job on it. Okay, ground cockpit. Go ahead. So you're clear to start your engines. Roger, starting engines in sequence 2 to 1. And we'll begin with engine 2. Okay, engine 2 start. So the open light is illuminated. Then we've got N2. Oil pressure, much easier to read on the eCam than it is on the actual gauge up there, as you can see. And we've got N1. Now listen to the sounds again. I really like how you can see, or rather how you can hear, the engine firing up when the fuel is injected. That sounds really good. Okay, ground, we got a good start on 2, we are starting 1. Engine 1 start. And 2. Okay, ground cockpit, pushback complete, set parking brake. Parking brake set, cleared to remove tuck turbine bypass pin and advancement clear, please. Okay, N2, oil pressure, N1. Shutdown cockpit. Go ahead. So we've got 2 good engine starts, clear disconnect, clear signal on the left hand side, please with a pin, and have a wonderful day. Bye bye. Okay, where is the ramp agent? There they go. Okay, working on it. Very good. Then we can, in the meantime, also start our stuff. Okay, we don't need anti-ice, certainly not over here. Okay, let me see that trim again. So I've got 31%. That equals how much again? Okay, is the ramp agent there? Yeah, there she is. Okay. Alright, so she's walking away. After start checklist, please. Pitch trim, set, rudder trim, 0, spoilers, armed, slats, flaps, got 15, 15. And ecam status, checked, any ice, off, hand signal, received. After start checklist, complete. Okay, flight control track. Full up. Fall down, neutral. By the way, that's interesting. Again, have a look at the elevator indication versus the control yoke. It looks to me like the elevator can reach the position while not really being in sync with the yoke there. Yeah, like when I'm pushing it forward, the actual elevator reaches the downward position before the yoke does. Just by a split second or so. But it just comes to my mind here. Okay, full left, full right, neutral, and the rudder, full left, full right, neutral. Okay then, cool. Let's just quickly put that TCAS to above. And I'll mode is set to 1. Okay. Cool. So, clear left side, clear right side. Request taxi, please. Now, taxi is going to be fairly straightforward. Straight out over here onto, what's that, Victor, then all the way to the left for a full length departure. Okay, clear left side, clear right side. Park and brake released. Rolls nicely in idle. Very good. Interesting taxi sign right on the line over there. That's definitely not supposed to be there. Now, why does it say Alpha on there when it's clearly Victor, as you can see by the taxi line over there, without any doubt? Well, suppose that sign shouldn't be there. Yeah, Victor is confirmed over here. Very good. Okay, cool. So, on this one we are going to use nav mode and we're going to arm profile mode as well. And then auto brake max, transponder can go to Tara. Weather radar, let's turn that on. And takeoff config test. Takeoff test normal, looks good. Before takeoff checklist to the line. Flight controls, checked. Briefing, confirmed. Slats flaps, 15. Performance and FMAs. So we've got a 155, 155, 163. That's profile climb nav armed. Takeoff config, checked. Transponder set. Before takeoff checklist complete to the line. So look at that, we're still in idle, we haven't used any thrust above idle, and the plane's doing 26 knots now. That's pretty cool. By the way, I know I keep saying A330, but it is a similar airframe, definitely similar engine, and the weights are a little bit lighter, and even the A330 at max takeoff weight with those engines is going to roll, and it is going to get quite quick, all the way up to 30 knots, without the need for any thrust. So I do believe that taxi behavior here to be absolutely accurate. I certainly do think so. By the way, that airplane symbol seems to be a little off. It seems to me like the wing is actually on where the actual plane is over there. That's funny. Definitely not what it's supposed to be like. But well, can't live with that. Okay, 34 knots, that's definitely a bit too fast here. Let's break it down a little. Still got a little way to go, so I'll just go down to 20 knots over here, then release the brakes again. The plane is equipped with carbon brakes, and they do wear down per brake application, not per how strong the actual brake application is, but only per the numbers of total applications. So for that reason, normally you'd let it accelerate to 30, and then you'll just let it go back down to 10 or something on the brakes, and then the entire game starts again. But since we are almost reaching the end of the runway here, I just went down to 20. Now let it accelerate again, and then once we are back up to speed, we'll get it down to 10 knots and then take the turn like that. By the way, talking about taking turns, now when you've got an airplane like this, which is accelerating on its own, then obviously you don't want to enter the turn exactly at 10 knots, but you rather want to go a little slower, like 7 or so. And when you're down to 7, then by the time you exit the turn, chances are you're going to be back up at 10 knots already, which is maximum that you're allowed to do in the turn overall. Okay, so let's slow it back down. The approach area is looking clear. Okay then, speed down to 7. Like here we are. Now let's enter the turn and see what we get. Now speed is 8. But see, that works pretty well. Okay then, cabin crew, prepare for departure. So the brake fans are off, lights can come on. Okay, the ignition is not required, the packs are going to stay on, and the TCAS is on Tara. Before takeoff checklist below the line, please. Cabin, secure, TCAS, Tara, packs on, ignition off, anti-ice off. Before takeoff checklist complete below the line. Okay, ready? Takeoff. Let's do the timing. Okay, stabilized. Set takeoff thrust. Take a thrust set, indications normal. 100 knots, checked. V1, rotate. Positive climb, gear up. Nav. Okay, trimmed out. Autopilot's on. Command 1. It starts to accelerate. Auto is selected. Climb thrust is in. Okay, flap 0. And slat 0. Very nice acceleration here. Nice and steady. That's exactly how I expect an airplane to behave. Right then, Mike Sierra 801, that's the overfly point. Let's just bring that chart back up so that you guys can see it a little better. Here we go. Okay, why is the speed coming back? Oh, it's supposed to take that speed back. Let's continue the climb for a bit. Let's profile again, and now the speed's going back up. That's interesting. Something doesn't seem right there to me. But anyway, let's see how the thing is going to handle the turn. So Mike Sierra 801 is an overfly waypoint. So let's see if it actually overflies it and then starts the turn, or what it's going to do. Okay, transition altitude 13,000 by the way, so let's keep an eye on that. Three more miles to run, then we should start the left-hand turn. The next interesting question then is going to be, what is it going to do after the overfly point? Normally it should draw a direct line with a turn in there to the point, but the A300, according to iniBuilds, doesn't really work that way. So let's see if it re-intercepts that straight line from the waypoint, or if it actually makes that left-hand turn and then goes direct to the point in question. That's going to be interesting to see which of the two types of behavior the A300 is going to show. In the meantime, by the way, I'm bringing the Ecam into view down there so that we can have a look at the cabin altitude down here. There was something in the changelog saying that the cabin altitude was spiking previously, and that should have been fixed, so gonna be interesting to keep an eye on that. Okay, passing 10,000. So far the turn is looking good. Let's see where it is going to roll out. The light's going off. I don't foresee any turbulence to happen here. Let's go ahead and release the passengers. It's a pretty short flight, so cabin crew needs to do some stuff as well. Interesting that we're only using like 16 degrees of bank over here. Don't see any reason why. Certainly it's not part of the procedure. Maybe it's part of how the airplane handles in general. We'll see. We'll definitely keep an eye on it. Cabin altitude so far as I can see is looking good. Okay, transition, set standard. Standard cross-check, passing flight level 134. Now. Checked. Okay, so now we're approaching the point where it's going to be interesting to see how the airplane's going to handle the turn. If it rolls off direct to 803 or if it tries to re-intercept that line over here. By the procedure, it should roll wings level direct to the waypoint 803. But let's see. That's good! It's doing it! Neat! Good job, iniBuilds. Very good job. Alright, that was good. So, let's go ahead and cancel that speed restriction. What's the econ speed? Should be something like 300, I suppose. So let's just go ahead and set 300. Here we go. And we are accelerating. I am purposefully ignoring the speed restriction at 803. Let's take a small shortcut and go direct to, let's say, Darpock or something the likes. Then see if directs are working. Okay, direct to Darpock. Insert. And that does seem to be looking good. Go back to profile. Then the econ speed can take over again. And that seems alright to me. It's doing the direct perfectly fine. Absolutely nothing to complain about. But I'm German, so I need to complain about something. So how about I complain that I didn't read the after takeoff climb checklist? Let's do that now. Not used to have to do that anymore, since in the A330 we don't even have it anymore. Since the A330 at least is going to warn you about pretty much everything that you can possibly forget. Okay, after takeoff climb checklist. Slat flaps, retracted, landing gear, up neutral, packs, on, altimeters, standard. After takeoff and climb checklist complete. Okay, we're approaching 1,000 to go. Let's just see how quickly the plane is going to pull the nose up once we reach our target climb speed here. That's a really smooth pull up. We can see that already. It's really smooth. Very nice. Okay. 1,000 to go. Vertical speed. Okay, that's really smooth handling. I really like it. That's a great job by the autopilot. Okay, the altitude alert light was just flashing here. Also, we don't need that chrono anymore. We got the elapsed timer running in the background. Looking really good so far. Now let's see how the level off is gonna go. Obviously we're approaching at just 1,000 feet a minute, so it shouldn't be any problem for the airplane at all. But that said, normally it's not a problem to level off for a real airliner, at least, regardless of the vertical speed that you have to approach the profile. Okay, here we go. Profile speed, alt star. Let's monitor. That's looking neat. Okay, profile alt. Now that's an Airbus quirky over here, but at least if we can judge it by the A320, it's a real life Airbus quirky. The climb speed is not necessarily equal to the cruise speed. For that reason, we are losing a little bit of speed now that we've leveled off in cruise, rather than continuing at the speed we used during our climb phase. That's really neat. Nice to see that they modeled stuff like that. Okay, so cruising altitude is reached, the seatbelts are released. Let's do a quick look over our systems. Everything's looking good in the overhead, with the exception of that oxygen supply switch there, which seems to be stuck in the off position. so I can't change that. Okay, everything's set up here. Let's see, the engine instruments are looking good as well. Then we can do a quick check through our ecam. Engines looking good, a little bit of vibration about everywhere, but that's normal. Okay, hydraulics are looking good. I do like the variance in the pressure here, by the way. From what I know from the Airbus A330, the hydraulic pressure is usually going to vary between 2,950 and 3,150, something the likes. Tending to be just about, or just around 3,000, so nice to see that the values are not always exactly 3,000 in here as well. Okay, then let's go on. AC page, looking good. Then we can do the DC page, again looking pretty much good. Bleed system. The packs are definitely not supposed to run on a high flow over here. They should be somewhere a little bit lower. Now, we could obviously just give it econ flow for a second, see what's gonna happen. But high is normally a little bit too much. I would rather expect to see the pack somewhere around the middle position by default, and when econ is activated, somewhere close to the low position. So this is quite a bit of very strong pack flow there. I certainly wouldn't expect that normally. Okay then, let's go on. Condition page, temperatures are looking good in the bulk as well. Pressurization page, everything looking good over here. So far I couldn't see any spikes in the cabin altitude either. Like it's varying at 20 feet a minute there, that really doesn't matter. But apart from that, everything seems to be looking quite good to me. Okay then, fuel page. Almost in balance, looking very good. APU is obviously off. We got flight controls. Everything positioned where it's supposed to be, right in the middle, indicating a well trimmed out airplane. It doesn't need to correct for anything. The doors all closed and slides armed. And the wheel page is looking good as well. Nice to see over here now. We got 60 degrees of brake temperature already on all the brakes. And that's just from the couple of times we needed to use them during our taxi out. Now imagine what it must be like at 40 degrees outside air temperature when taxiing with aircraft close to the maximum takeoff mass. You can easily heat your brakes up like 200 degrees or something. And then on the other end side, there will ultimately come a point from which Airbus is going to say like, no, you're no longer allowed to take off because your brakes are not going to develop sufficient energy anymore in case I reject the takeoff. Okay, so that is all looking good. Then we can basically start our descent preparation already. It's a short flight, but that's kind of what I like about it as well. So, couple more things from the changelog then, if I may. Yes, spoilers in flight fixed, not 100% sure what exactly is meant with that. Green FMC, glow, present, cold and dark, certainly didn't see anything of that. Active fix should be white on the nav display is what it says here in the changelog. So let's have a look at the nav display and see what these things look like now. So, Darpock is active and is white. That's pretty cool. I'm just wondering if the entire line is supposed to be white now. Probably not, huh? Maybe it's related to the secondary? Let's just copy the active once more. Yeah, that's looking better. Okay, not sure if that line is supposed to be white or green. Being an Airbus, I would certainly expect green, but, well, we're just gonna keep it at that, and we'll continue with that stuff. So Dubai got a wind from the north at 6 knots, slightly variable, 25 degrees, QNH 1017. I did check flight radar 24, and they were actually using runway 12 over in Dubai, so that is what we are going to do. Sorry, runway 30 I meant. They're using runway 30 over in Dubai, which is their preferential runway. So that is what we are going to do as well. So let's grab the charts. Arrival. Impact 3 Charlie. I believe that is what we've got. So a quick check that all the waypoints and the constraints are correct. So impact 230 knots below 12,000, that's what we have. We got Delta Bravo 520, 230 knots below 11,000. That is what we have as well. Delta Bravo 518 below 10,000, Wutum below 8,000. And that's 518 below 10, Wutum below 8, looking good. Waypoint 515, 210 knots, and then 514 below 6,000. And again, that is what we've got. Okay then. After that, 513 Giorgio Vela Redev. So 513 Giorgio Vela Redev is what we've got and what we should have. And then we've got 508 at 185 knots. Why on earth do they get to speeds like that? But if they want us to fly that, then we certainly can. Okay, and then it's going to be Delta Bravo 507, and then leading on to the final 506, 505, 4, and Uldot. And that's basically what we've got in here. Not sure why it's not drawing a line in between here. I would definitely expect one to be there. But, well, if that's what they say, then so be it. Okay, so anyway, what we can say is that the star is correct. So let's go ahead now with the setup of the approach itself. Triple 1.3, 299. So triple 1.3. Now on the course we're going to do 299. Minimum 260. No, not that one. That one. Okay. Right, and in case I missed approach, climb direct Delta Bravo 707 on track 284 towards Agnot, hold at 3000. Let's have a look. Delta Bravo 707, looking good. And then Agnot, hold in 3000. Okay, looking good to me. Perfect, then on the approach page, I would say we can do a flap 15 landing today. Should be more than light enough, and our runway is more than long enough, so let's change the GPWS landing flap selector down there as well. MDA 260. And the rest of that stuff over here is looking good. And for the go-around, we can say the acceleration is going to be the MSA, so that's 3,800 in the missed approach sector, which is above the missed approach altitude, so then we make it the missed approach altitude, so it's going to be 3,000 for the acceleration down there, which for some reason we still can't enter, so that's probably still work in progress. Okay, finally, auto brakes low, and that's it. Okay, so that is our setup pretty much completed. So are you ready for the approach briefing? So then the first officer is once again going to lead the way for the briefing. Okay, MSA Mora for the approach, the highest 3,800 in the missed approach sector. It's the, what's it called again? IMVEB 3 Charlie Rabel or something the likes. Luckily we are allowed to look that up while we're briefing. Yeah, IMPET 3 Charlie arrival. Front ILS approach 30 left, minimum 260, and we can set that on both sides most certainly. Like that. And go around trajectory is Delta Bravo 707, and then slight left turn, climb 3000. Extra fuel and time. Let's see if we've got some information there. Fuel prediction. Yeah, 23 minutes in form of 1.7 tons. Okay, guidance for the approach is going to be localizer and glide slope, landing flap setting 20. Stop margin is plenty, reversers will be used in idle, auto brakes used on low. Planned runway exit is going to be the second or third to the left hand side, and I don't see any hotspots for the taxi in. Nothing special, nothing non-standard. Which threats do you see for the arrival? Right, so I think the main threat for this one is going to be the amount of Emirates traffic that we've got in the area. So calls and confusion is a possibility for a problem. Also, the secondary threat we got for the arrival is that we have the S transition on the way in, so we might expect significant shortcuts, which might also significantly shorten our flight time. Alright, I do agree on all of those, and the mitigation measures for these threats are going to be that for the call sign confusion, we're going to listen that carefully for us. So it's Emirates 863 Heavy that we've got as our call sign for today. But we're not flying online, so ultimately I don't expect it to be too much of a problem. Now, for your second threat for the shortcuts on the arrival, that's a very good one. I do, however, have the 12,000 feet restriction at IMPAP, so we don't need to worry about that. So that's just up there, coming into view right now. Let's also get that on the screen. Here you go, IMPAP 12,000 feet or below, 230 knots. So that is going to enable us to fly perfectly onto the final approach without the need for any additional deceleration. Alright, any questions on the approach briefing? No? Very good. So that's our briefing complete. Let me quickly talk to the passengers, and then we'll start with our descent. Ladies and gentlemen, from FlightTech, this is your captain speaking. We are shortly going to start our descent towards Dubai Airport, remaining flight time about 25 minutes. The weather in Dubai at the moment, 25 degrees, clear skies with a light wind from the north. Would like to thank you very much for choosing Emirates for today's flight. Hope you have enjoyed it as much as we did, and we look forward to welcoming you again on board of a future scheduled service. In the meantime, thank you very much for your attention, and we wish you a very nice day in Dubai, if applicable, a nice and safe continuous journey. Okay, that's our passengers catered for IF control. So let's just use the little time we have to have a quick look outside. Oh, hello there. That's not exactly what I meant, but this is it. I really like how the aft part of the plane there is slightly rising upwards. That's one of those things that really makes these Airbus widebody planes. Like here you can see it, the entire cabin is going straight, and then towards the end it's going slightly up. I really like that. I really do. Right, quick look from the other end side as well before we go back inside. By the way, I do still feel that iniBuilds could do a little bit more on the mixing of their sounds over here, because changing from the inside to the outside is really blowing your ears away. Like right now it's really loud compared to when I'm in the cockpit where it's really quiet, so that's definitely something I'm hoping for a future fix. That's looking cool, isn't it? Okay, cool. Back inside, and as you can see we're about to approach our top of descent, so let's go ahead. Select our altitude down. We're going to start at 12,000, and then let's see how much further is it. 6 miles. Tell you what, profile descent. So that should hopefully give me 1,000 foot a minute now until we're intercepting the profile. Yep, it does. Cool. So iniBuilds did say in the in their Discord that the plane has problems with intercepting the descent profile when you start the descent exactly at the top of the descent. Apparently that's a feature, they say, and the real airplane would do the same. Now, I can't comment on whether that's actually the case, but in any case, starting your descent a little bit earlier when you're flying an Airbus aircraft usually is a good idea. So I do believe what we're doing right now should be fine. Even though we are losing a little bit of speed here because it went in a retard mode. Okay, here we go. Now we're intercepting the actual profile. Okay, Chica's going into below with a little bit more range. Let's put the seatbelt on already. So that's looking all good. Alright, latest weather, what does it look like? 1017, yeah, it's basically unchanged. Okay then, set QNH 1017. Cross check passing 17,700 now. Checked. Okay, cool. So this is actually going pretty well, isn't it? Don't think there is really anything else that we could possibly do for now. We talked to the passengers, we did our descent, we did our approach setup. Yes, we did. Okay, so we actually got a little bit of silence now. They say 5.6 for the arrival, with 6.3 in tanks right now, so 700 kilograms to go. Yeah, that might possibly be true, but I do expect that we are going to get a shortcut in a few moments and then proceed towards the final approach anyway. Ultimately, I did check Flight Radar 24 for reference flights from the real world before conducting this one, and most of them just flew straight into the approach, so how about we just do exactly the same. So let's have a quick look into the charts once more. We might just go straight to Uldot. Or, I'll tell you what, let's just grab that corner point up there, Delta Bravo 506. I like that one. Okay, so direct Delta Bravo 506. Let's see if we're gonna get another crash to desktop, or if it's doing this fine. 506. Direct, insert. Looking good. Progress, 1,300 too low, that's okay. And it changed nicely into profile speed, profile descent. So it should now do like 1,000 feet a minute again, while using thrust to maintain the speed. But I'll simply let VNAV do its thing now, without even interrupting it. Let's go ahead and set the altitude down. We're going all the way to 3,000, which is where our platform is. Okay, set. 3,000 blue. The vertical profile is coming alive again. So let's see the intercept. That's working pretty well. It really is. Okay, not much that I could actually ask for. It's doing exactly what we wanted to do. There is no descent checklist. The next one actually is the approach checklist. Let me just check something real quick. Airport elevation 62. Yeah, we could just keep 0, or we might just do this as well. Now it's 50 feet. For the cabin altitude, that should be fine as well. And talking about the cabin altitude, what's it doing? 1740. Descending at 200 feet a minute. So it's gonna take like 10 minutes for the cabin altitude to reach ground level. Seems fine to me. Okay, slightly above the profile now, and slightly... Okay, now it's reducing its speed target. Let's see how well the deceleration is going to work. We were slightly below the original speed, so getting a more drag message here. That doesn't seem to make much sense to me. More drag, yeah, I disagree. Okay, about to reach 250 knots. You can see how it's already pulling up some thrust, but we're still above the profile, so I would expect it to use a little bit less thrust and just increase the rate of descent a bit in order to get back under that profile. It is not a large deviation, it's 180 feet right now, or 210, but it's still a deviation, so now we're going down. Okay, about to pass 10,000. Speed is looking good where it is. A little bit increasing right now, but 260 is fine with me as well. Okay, the signs are on. Lights on. ILS is selected. Constraints and constraints. GPS primary, accuracy is high. And that looks good to me. Approach checklist, please. Signs on, briefing, confirmed, ecam status, checked, altimeters, 1017 reading 9000. Now, checked. Okay, minimums, Barrow 260 and Barrow 260. Ignition, off, landing, elevation, set. Approach checklist complete. So flying like 10 knots faster now than planned. That's totally fine, totally within limits. Nothing I would worry about at all. That's looking quite neat there with the dust in the background, isn't it? Oh, and that moment our airplane seems to go into a dive. Yeah, a little bit here. So we're not receiving any actual ILS signal yet. What has it auto-tuned there? 26 miles in that direction. Let's see. VOR. Not sure really what it auto-tuned there. Okay, speed is slowly coming back. Okay, let's go level change now. And we're looking for 220 knots. So iniBuilds did say that in the real world the profile mode wouldn't be that reliable either, and therefore pilots would be using level change rather often. So I thought like, yeah, tell you what, let's just do about the same thing in ours. Because why not? Okay. We still got a message. More drag. Yeah, I disagree with that. Apparently we're 90 feet high. Yeah, that seems okay. That vertical deviation there. Okay, reaching our 3000 target now that we're established somewhere around Satpo. That does seem good to me, so that we can reduce our speed so that by the time we reach Mollusk we are nicely configured. So far, everything is looking good. One more quick look outside, because I do really enjoy the views of the desert over here. I'm not really sure even what it is that makes me enjoy this. It's just like that, it's looking, well, interesting. And the city of Dubai is coming into view on the horizon over there. And we're now getting an ILS signal, so let's see. 22 DME, we're in 5,200, that means we need like 16 miles to get rid of the altitude, plus another 2 to get rid of the speed, so we should be in 18 miles. And since we're in 21 right now, that means we are 3 miles further out than we need to, so we are 1,000 feet lower than the ideal profile. Okay, and if that is the case, we could either just go vertical speed, or we just let it descend and level off in 3,000, and then we'll let it intercept from there. Okay then, in the meantime, cleared localizer. Warlock is armed. Lock blue. Lock star. 1,000 to go. Vertical speed. Not that it would really be necessary at this point, but it is procedure to do 1,000 feet a minute on the last 1,000 feet, so we'll just do it, because why not? Obviously there would be some collies out there who would be lazy and just keep going at 1,100 or 1,200 or whatever we just had when we decided to take over the vertical speed, but either way is going to help, and the other way might burn half a kilogram more fuel. Obviously if that's done 10,000 times a day, then that's $5,000, but I somehow doubt it. Okay, looking good to me. So, Alt Star, Alt, Cluster Blue, Cat 3, Dual. So, glass globes coming in. That's a runway straight in front over there. Let's see what that looks like from the outside again. Nice airplane. Okay. So that's 15. Let's start slowing down. Blast up star. Go around altitude 3000 set. Glass slope. And we're nicely established. The speed is looking good at 190. Roundabout. What else could we possibly be asking for? Straight in approach at Dubai, doesn't happen too often anyway. And then this. That's really good. Okay, passing 2500. That's flaps 15. Gear down. It is a rather slippery airplane, so you can see how our speed is barely responding there. Okay, now that our gear is down, that is where the drag is coming up. And flaps 20. Landing checklist. Landing gear down, auto brake, low, anti-skid, checked. Slats flaps 15, 20, and spoilers armed. Landing checklist complete. So let's see, we approach 143, let's take 5 knots of wind correction, that's gonna give us 148. So auto thrust is off, autopilot's off. Nice and stable. So remember, we don't have a minimum call out here. Have to do that ourselves. Approaching minimum. Minimum, continue. Oh, come on. Interesting, it said 5 the moment we touched down. Okay, spoiler, reverse green. Decel. Keeping the center line is as much fun as it always was in Microsoft Flight Sim. That's out of question here. Manual brakes. 70 knots. Okay, we'll vacate the runway and then we'll taxi straight over to the other side of the apron. Here we go. Should probably have taken the taxiway to the right hand side there, take that one in, but it's not gonna make too much of a difference really, is it? Okay, after landing items. What is it? Brake temps high. Yeah, okay. Brake fan on. Well, here you go. Delay takeoff. That's fine. Okay, clear brakes. Okay, after landing checklist. Slats flaps. About retracted. Transponder. XPDR. Weather radar. Off. Spoilers. Disarmed. APU. Started. After landing checklist complete. Alright, let's park in the middle between the Emirates A380s over there. What do you think? Gonna be nice to see like the oldest compared to the largest Airbus. So what's the brake temps doing? Oh yeah, approaching 500. Yep, we're definitely gonna keep that brake fan on. Okay, gate number 18 it is. Or is it 18? Bravo 16. That's what we're looking for. Okay, clear right side and clear left side. I don't suppose we still got any A300 markings down here. Nah, not really. 777, A350. Yeah, A350 should be good. And here we are. Okay, park and brake is set, then let's go ahead with the procedures. So, APU bleed on. APU itself is running, very good. Shutdown. Cabin crew, all doors in park. those are meant to be off. Okay, can we disarm the slots in here? Should be able to, should we? Okay. Interesting, they're just arming them again. Are they supposed to do that? Real door arming, yeah. Let's put that on. And then I suppose they should disarm them any moment. It's interesting that we don't have a command to disarm all the doors. We only got the arm command. Okay, now we can do it manually. Except for forward. Clicking on here, but nothing happened. Okay. Well, so be it. Okay, the slide indication is showing there. Let's click that once more. Still showing. Okay, so probably the slide froze in position. At least that is what I would expect from the A330. That sometimes happens, that the doors are freezing in position. But okay, so be it. Oh no, not those. But those. Okay, parking checklist. APU bleed. On. Engines. Off. Differential pressure. 0. Lights and signs. Off. And set. Fuel pumps. Whoopsie, I knew I forgot something. Off. Window and probe heat. Off. Parking checklist complete. Alright guys, and that's it. Our first flight with the latest update of the iniBuilds A300 600. Now, what is my first impression then of the latest update? Well, I do have to say, it did work quite well. It did what I wanted it to do, and it got us where we wanted to go. Now, not 100% perfect yet, obviously, but then again, it's only the first update since the initial release. So I am positive that iniBuilds are going to do a couple of nice updates with future versions. But for now, nice little airplane for 42 British pounds including taxes. That's certainly worth it. That's like 50 euros or something the likes, maybe a little bit more. Absolutely worth the money, good load of fun to fly, and I can only say that I'm really looking forward to further flights with the A300. So keep going like that, iniBuilds. You are on a very good track over here. And in the meantime, I'm looking forward to see you guys again in the future for another ride with the A300, or perhaps for the upcoming system check flight, where we're going to check if the plane is actually study level or not. In the meantime though, thank you very much for watching. If you did like the video, be sure to leave the like in YouTube as well, as it does really help out the channel. And be sure to subscribe if you're up for more. Finally, if you really love what I'm doing, I would appreciate a small donation through the Buy Me Coffee link in the video description below. But until then, I'd like to say thank you very much, and see you all again on the next one.